I think it's the older trans people who say that, like, "Oh, like, I'm transitioning," and it's like, no, trans is just a descriptor. Like, this
Mhm.
doesn't mean transitioning. It means the other side
Right.
of, like, that's all it means, but, like so, like, it's interesting to talk to, like, older trans people versus, like, the words that they use and, like, the words we don't use anymore, I guess.
Mhm. Right. Because I guess, like,
Yeah.
transitioning is self-defined. So, like,
Mhm.
for me, like, I feel like I'm done transitioning, like, I've transitioned already. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, hormones are still spotty, but, like, it's not like, I'm not gonna see any major difference anymore the more I take testosterone. Like, this is
Right,
it, you know?
right. Yeah, no, I mean, like you said, it's, like, individual, depends on, like, what you want. Like me, I
Mhm.
go back and forth between, like, bottom surgery or not because boom, after top surgery, it was, like, bottom dysphoria times 10, and I'm like, "Fuck." Like,
Uh,
I didn't want that at all, like, I didn't want that to happen so soon because I'm like, I'm just trying to, like, get my life together, basically,
right.
and then I don't
Well, yeah,
need.
because it's like I guess in that case, like, are you still transitioning? Because if right, so, like, if bottom surgery is the thing that you want
Mhm.
or need for your transition to be, like, complete or whatever, like, would you not be transitioned until the bottom surgery is, like, finished? But I feel like that doesn't make sense because everything else is, like, on the surface level has changed, you
Right.
know?
So that's where I think it's like, it just depends on your age at this point on how you view things. Like, if you're, like,
Mhm.
an older trans person, like, I'm older, but, like, not, like, 40, 50, 60.
Right.
Like, I feel like they would use the words of, like, "Oh, well, you're not fully transitioned yet." I'm like, "No, but I'm trans." There's no, like I don't like that because 'cause I've been asked that by, like, medical professionals, which I think is very weird to ask somebody, like, "Are you transitioned yet? Are you fully transitioned? Are you
Mhm.
fully dumb or just half dumb? Which one?"
Yeah, because like, not every trans man or trans woman wants bottom surgery, like, that's not a
Right,
thing
right.
for them, so, like, you can't void them being done transitioning because they haven't had the a
Or
surgery.
fully transitioned. Yeah,
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 right.
yeah. Welcome to Two Guys Unfiltered, a podcast where we let LGBTQ people like you share their stories, the funny ones, the hard ones, and everything in between. I'm Juju.
And I'm August, so whether you're part of the community or just here to listen, we're glad you're here. Our guest today is Maddox. He shared his transition story and overwhelming acceptance from the people around him, as well as the beginning stages of his phalloplasty journey. We want to know from you guys, when does someone's transition period end? Do you guys think it's never ending, or does it continue until all of the individual's goals are met? This is something both Juju and I have been discussing for a while now, so we would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions about it. So make sure you leave a comment so we can have a little bit of a discussion about it. Now let's get into it.
So my name is Maddox. I'm 25 years old. I'm from California, thankfully. Um, I've been a college student for 2 years, and I'm about to transfer to UC Davis. It's been my dream school since I was like
Hey,
14. Yeah, so I'm very excited. It's kind of been my main thing. School's been my my main thing, but um, see that's the basics. Or I unfortunately I live in a very conservative and rural and racist town. It's very unfortunate, but um, make do with it. Um, and I come from a very lovely small family, very supportive, and yeah, I very happy. Currently, what's going on in my life, but I'll get into my coming out story if that's okay with you guys.
yeah, I
Sure.
wanted to ask though, what are you, excuse me, going to school for?
My major is called Community and Regional Development.
Okay.
My main purpose or like my passions is for like helping people, especially people of color and underserved communities, and
Mhm.
like urban cities, that are still affected by, like uh, environmental racism, like the effects of redlining, um, just inadequate, access to crucial things that people need. Um, so that's definitely the field that I want to get into.
Awesome. Definitely
Yeah,
need more of that, so
for sure.
but yeah, go
Um,
ahead, if you wanna give us a little summary of your coming out story.
cool. Thank you. Um, so I came out to myself. I came out when I was 16 years old. Um, and it was weird because I was a sophomore in high school, and I had already been out as gay at this time, but I hadn't fully made that transition from wearing like feminine to like masculine clothing. Um, so I went to school and I had this like fitted pink shirt, and to my high school we had these big stairs leading up to campus, and I remember walking up these stairs and just this wave of crippling dysphoria and anxiety just so randomly. And I wanted to just crawl out of my body. And it was just the weirdest feeling ever. It's the first time I experienced dysphoria. Um, and after that, I went home and, started doing research about just feeling weird about specifically like my chest and things of that nature. And I came across, um, other trans men's, transition diaries, and just everything, you know, that explains what transgender people are in the process. And once I found out that was something that existed, it just kind of clicked. And it was weird because I didn't really grow up, you know, wearing masculine clothing or thinking to myself, "Oh, I hate being a girl," or so it was very random. But I guess that shirt that day did it for me, and dysphoria just kick started from there. Um, so I kind of kept it to myself for a few months and just did more research and started watching YouTube videos, of other trans men's experiences. Um, and I chose my new name, and I finally came out to my parents, and they were very supportive, which I kind of figured they would be. So I'm very grateful. And I came out to my school, my friends, and um, everyone was very, very supportive as well. And everyone started calling me my new name, pronouns. And I finished high school. And I'd say the last year was definitely the hardest just because, I'm transitioning into a guy now, and, I haven't started testosterone. Um, so it was difficult. It was very difficult. Um, so yeah, that's initially my coming out story. Everything was pretty smooth. Of course, like in high school, people say dumb things behind your back and whatnot, but um, you know, it's it was easy for me to kind of ignore that just because of all the good friends I had. Um, so yeah, I'm very grateful that I've come from a very supportive family and friends. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it.
And as far as, like, your teachers, they were, like, okay with using, like, the new name that you wanted to go by, the pronouns, things like that?
Yeah, I think living in California, I'm pretty sure it's like they have to, thankfully. Um, yeah, and I remember I was actually before I came out to my parents. I went to the office and I was like, "Isn't there something I can sign that like makes my teachers call me by a different name and different pronouns?" And they're like, "Yeah, but it needs your parents' signature." And so I was like, "Oh shoot!" So I think that's what really pushed me to come out. Um, but yeah, they were really cool. Um, there was a few teachers that kind of slipped up here and there, but that's it comes with the territory, unfortunately. Um,
Right.
but yeah, they were pretty cool about it, thankfully.
That's good.
Yeah.
And then how old were you when you, started testosterone?
I was 17 and a half when I
Okay,
started testosterone. Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
And how is that process, because you weren't, like, 18 yet, so how was the process of, like, being able to start?
Right, yeah. Um, well, thankfully, there was a trans guy. Um, there was a couple, but there was a trans guy who he was a year older than me in high school, and we weren't friends. But whenever I had a question um, regarding testosterone and how he started, he was there for me and he explained everything. And we actually ended up going to the same clinic after a while.
Hmm,
Because for my insurance to cover it, I had to be out for a year. So I had to be out, as my new identity for a year, and then I could start it. Um, but I mean, yeah, if you have a parent that's okay with it and approves it, then you're able to. So, yeah, I lived, as Maddox, he, him, for a year, and then I went to the clinic, and oh, I had to go to therapy for a little bit as well. That's like a
okay.
requirement, but that was pretty straightforward. Um, but yeah, and then I started testosterone, um, and yeah, it was amazing because I mean, I'd say the first 6 months of coming out and living as my new self, it was definitely like a honeymoon phase, because it's just so exciting, you're watching testosterone effect videos. You're following trans guys on Instagram. It's something new. But that second half of that year waiting to start testosterone was definitely very depressing. So once I started it, I mean, it was just amazing, and it's been amazing since then. So, yeah.
What would you say is, one thing that someone should have warned you about but didn't with starting testosterone?
You know, thankfully, my endocrinologist is a wonderful, wonderful lady. Um, she she's very thorough. Like she's very thorough, and she's blunt. So as soon as I met her, she wanted to make sure that I was ready, obviously, to start it, but the medical sides of it as well. Because as a trans guy, you're excited about your voice and the hair and the fat redistribution. um you're not thinking about what it's going to do, like your red blood count, what it could do to your bones if you stop taking it, the more medical side of it. So
Mm.
um i think that I think some things around the medical side of it was something that I didn't take as serious. I didn't like research as much as, the fun things and the fun side of
Right.
testosterone. Um, so I think probably like not mood swings, but I think testosterone definitely it makes it easier for me to become irritable. And it's been that way since I started testosterone. Like she's like, we can lower it, we can raise it, we can mess around with it a little bit, but Um, I've kept it at my original dosage. Um, so I mean, I think it probably just comes with taking testosterone. I mean, I don't want to like give into that rhetoric because there is a rhetoric that like, oh, testosterone makes trans men angry and mean. And I don't want to get into that, but for me, it's definitely made it a little easier for my mood to change from fine to a little bit irritated. So that's one thing I'd say.
Yeah, but I think that in general, like hormone imbalances and hormone changes is it's gonna cause that. So it's just, like you said, it's something that comes with the territory. So,
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
and what would you say has been the hardest part of your transition?
it's crazy because like there's there's so many different ways transitioning can go. Like obviously there's people and kids out there that are kicked out and have no support system. Some people can't even start their medical journey, and it's very saddening, and it's unfortunate. And I'm very grateful that I live in California and I have a wonderful family, and come from a very supportive um support system. Um, so it's difficult answering this question because genuinely everything has gone so smoothly. Um,
How about like
yeah,
internally? Was there anything that kind of took you a little bit longer to accept about yourself, or I guess just the trans community in general?
I think I feel like this is probably pretty common, but I think that, like I said, the first like 3 to 6 months of after coming out was pretty much like a honeymoon. But that last half of that year before starting testosterone was pretty difficult. Um, like to date, that's probably the most difficult and depressing like portion of my life. Um, and it's so weird because we make this decision of transitioning from a girl to a man, and we're so secure in this decision. We're ready for it, we're excited for it, but because of dysphoria, we are so, self-conscious about ourselves, when it comes to how we're perceived, not looking how we want to look, not sounding how we want to sound. Um, so it's this weird relationship, we want to transition into this gender that we have no experience, you know, but then at the same time, we're a little self-conscious and a little insecure. Um, so probably experiencing those feelings, like I'm
Right.
excited to be a man now, to for a new name, he him pronouns, but I was definitely insecure and self-conscious about that decision just because, it's all brand new, you know.
Right.
Um but obviously now, I'm 25, I've been out for 10 years now. Like it's like it's completely normal.
Hmm.
Breaking news!
California's Visalia Unified School District is currently investigating a group of students after displaying a homophobic slur in the school's gymnasium. After observing two 8th grade boys holding hands during the high school's orientation, a group of ASB students made shirts to spell out 2F slur while seating next to each other in the bleachers. Although it is unclear if the two 8th graders from freshman orientation saw the display of homophobia, incidents like this reinforce stigma, normalize hate, and send a painful message to LGBTQ students.
Recently, at the Stonewall National Monument in New York City, the pride flag was taken down from its flagpole by the National Park Service under the Trump administration. Officials say it's about federal rules that limit what flags can fly on national park land. But LGBTQ plus advocates and local leaders were not having it. They quickly rallied together and raised the rainbow flag again, saying the symbol is central to Stonewall's history and the fight for LGBTQ plus rights, as well as supporters saying the pride flag belongs at the birthplace of the modern LGBTQ plus movement.
In more good news, on Wednesday, a California state court ordered San Diego Children's Hospital to continue providing gender-affirming care to trans youth for at least another month. The court ruling gives local families and patients until March 10th to find similar care elsewhere, at which point another court hearing will determine whether the hospital continues to offer such care. Although this is a partial victory, it gives lawmakers and lawyers more time to fight for continued care. If you want to read more into these stories, the links to the articles will be in the description below.
And then on the flip side, what was probably the most joyful or affirming part of your transition so far?
Probably just my medical transition and my medical journey. Um, yeah, it's just been so fluid. It's just been so fluid. Of course, it's a waiting game. Like anything in the medical field is a waiting game. Therapy, letters, insurance. Um, but other than that, it's just been, step one, wait a little bit. Step two, wait a little bit, and you got it. At least that's how my experience has been. Um, so I'd say that's probably been the most joyful. Um, just because obviously, as a trans man, I'd say the average trans man is excited to start, their medical journey. Um, so probably just how fluid that process has been. Um, and then obviously my support system, because without them, I wouldn't be here. That process wouldn't have been as fluid, and I'm very, very grateful for them.
Yeah. And then speaking of your, medical transition process, you've mentioned that you're starting the process for phalloplasty already.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
can you share more about that? Neither of us have either looked. I guess we've looked into it, but haven't gotten anything further than that. So I want to pick your brain about it.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah. So in 2023, um, I had a hysterectomy, and that's a requirement for bottom surgery.
Okay.
Um, and again, that process was pretty straightforward. Some letters, some therapy, a little waiting here, and I had it done in Davis, California. And since then, it's just been about just research. And I think it's important, to obviously find a good surgeon, but to be so familiar with the process, the recovery, what you want, the complications. Like it's so important to really understand what you're getting into, because I mean, obviously, it's such an intense surgery.
Right.
Um, so from then until this year, I was mainly just, doing research, watching videos on Reddit. I've talked to a bunch of different guys who are post-op, and just, kind of like you, just picking people's brains
Mm-hmm.
to just, get the ins and outs of, uh, how the process is. Um, so yeah, I had my hysterectomy, and I ultimately knew I wanted to go to Dr. Chen in the Bunkie Clinic, um, just because they're in San Francisco and it's only a couple hours away from me, and they're very talented. Um, but I mean, it's funny, like my bottom dysphoria was never crippling until
Mm.
I started like growing up. Because as you grow up, you have your job, you go to school, you go to college, you go to professional events, the grocery store, you're moving, you're in society, you're not a little kid anymore. So, having to go to your job and go to the bathroom and sit down in the stall, or you're on campus all day, like some days I'm drinking one water bottle so I don't have to go to the bathroom more than a
Same.
couple times a day. Right.
Yeah.
Like it's terrible. It's terrible. So, that definitely was a factor. Um, I've been packing. I didn't really grow up packing, but I've started to get into it last couple of years because again, my dysphoria just started really getting there just because I've had top
Hmm.
surgery. I had it in 2019, so I think
Okay.
dysphoria kind of subsided and then it kind of hit out of nowhere. So, um, and then just not having that exterior anatomy, it's just it sucks, like I don't hate what I have, but I don't enjoy it, and
Love
I
it.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, yeah. And I don't see myself living the rest of my life with what I have. So it's
Hmm.
just a no-brainer, like I don't care about the complications, I don't care about how it looks afterwards. Like it's for a lot of us it's just a no-brainer, so um yeah, I went to therapy. I got a couple letters for the surgery, so it's covered by my insurance, thankfully. Um, yes, and then you have to have hair removal, um, like a process. If you have it on your forearm or your thigh or elsewhere, you have to get that done. So it's crazy to say if I've been going for a year now. And it's been great. I have I think 2 or 3 more sessions. Um, And yeah, I got my surgery dates, May 27th of this year, so 4
That's so
months
exciting.
away. Yeah, It's crazy. It's so crazy because like just like all of us, we grow up and we watch videos of the top surgery vlog and
Mm-hmm.
the 1 year on T videos. It's so exciting, and then you get to also experience it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
crazy that this is reality. Like it's 4 months away. So yeah, I'm ready for it for sure.
And are you using your forearm?
I am. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think for its alt, yeah, that's your thigh. Um
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's better if you have like a really low body fat percentage. Um
Gotcha.
so it's safer to go with my arm, and I don't really mind about the scar as well. Like I think being trans and wanting to pursue a medical transition, you kind of have to be okay with the scars. And if you're not, there's silicone cream,
Mm-hmm.
strips, tattooing. Um, but again, I don't really care too much about scars. Everyone has scars,
Yeah.
impurities, so it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned like after top surgery that has like bottom dysphoria has like increased. Me and Juju were literally just
I
talking
was
about
just
this
saying
before
that too.
we were recording. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I feel the same way. Like before top surgery, I was like, bottom surgery, I'm not gonna need it. I don't want it. But now that I'm like over a year post op top surgery, I'm like, it's sounding a lot more interesting now.
Yes. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. It's so weird. It like merges. Once you
Hmm.
solve one issue, it just that's how dysphoria is, man. Like it
Yeah.
just it nitpicks. It finds a way. You can be out for 15, 25 years, and it's some days.
Something else. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
No, I think for
Yeah.
me, it's definitely like the whole bathroom situation, like having to go inside knowing that I have to like sit down to use the restroom instead of being like quick in and out, or, like
Mm.
stand to piss and then walk out. Like
Yes.
obviously wash your hands, but like
Right.
just
Right.
the process of using the restroom now is so much more like draining
Yeah.
now that
Yes.
I know that I have to sit down. I don't know.
Even
It's
at
weird.
home, for me, at least, like, even at
Yeah.
home,
Yeah.
it's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, fuck," like, this is just yeah. That's interesting, yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like, I thought for me, like, "Oh, I just got top surgery, let me just enjoy," and then here comes the train of dysphoria and was like, "Well, what about bottom growth? What about your bottom? Like, what about
Mm-hmm.
that?" And then I'm like, "Oh, fuck," like, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't know.
'Cause like
Right.
Mhm.
the whole bedroom scene like that, like it doesn't really give me dysphoria. It's just like the social aspect of not having a penis, of like using the restroom and
Mm-hmm.
having to stand in line to wait for the stall to open, like instead of just go in and then go out. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you guys explain it perfectly. It's draining. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Like it's physically draining, it's mentally draining. It just sucks. It just
Yes.
sucks.
Hmm.
Like and it's
Like we
it's
shouldn't
like
have to think so much about using the restroom. Like
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like if you want to go camping, like that sucks. You're
Hmm.
go on a hike, you can't just,
Right.
let me find a tree. Like it's an annoying
Exactly.
process. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely. And then how would you say your interaction with society has changed from like pre-transition, during your transition process, and then now?
Mm. You know, it's funny because like I lived longer as a girl as I have as a man, and it's so difficult to remember my life as a girl. Like it's so strange. Like it's yeah, it's hard to remember. I mean, I'll say I can't speak too much about how interactions went as a girl in society, but there are definitely clear differences between living in society as a girl pre-transition and obviously passing and living in society as a man. Um, if you identify as a girl, you're in society living as a girl, you're treated as such. But, you start creeping into, questioning your gender identity, how you present yourself. Society loves to make it a big deal, at least in my little town. In my little town, you cut your hair, you got some piercings, you look a little androgynous, people are staring, you know, people are eyeing you, people are asking questions. Um, so as I was like a baby trans guy, in that year before starting testosterone, going to the grocery store, people are kind of, looking at me a little funny.
Mhm.
Obviously misgendering, but that's understandable. It's hard to pass well before testosterone, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Um, and people just treat you a little differently. You're kind of like an out, not necessarily outcast, but it's you're different. You're physically different. Um, so it's definitely it's sometimes it can feel like an alien an alienating experience, just because you just feel different. Um but now, obviously, I'm very much passing. I've been on testosterone since I was 17. um you know it's there's also differences from obviously living as a girl and then obviously pre-passing. In my experience, I feel like people, um, they don't baby you as much, whether
Mm.
it's in college, at your job. People are very much straightforward. They don't baby you as much. They're harsher, because you're a man now. They're in my experience, people are just harsher. Um, and then also I feel like eh, it's just like what you do doesn't um it's not a big it's not a big deal. Like if you make mistakes, um I feel like the consequences aren't as dire. Like your colleagues or people around you, they kind of blow it off like it's okay. Like you get more chances, I'd say. um and things are just like more chill. I don't know, it's hard to describe. Like it's hard to describe. I don't know. What
No,
are your what
I
are your
yeah,
guys'
it's
experience?
it's interesting because I agree. Like I feel like when I was being perceived as a woman, like they expect you to be like perfect every single time. Like women can't
Yes.
make mistakes or like, oh, you're dumb. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that.
Mhm.
Whereas men, it's like if they do make a mistake, like it's excusable. Like, oh, well,
Mm,
maybe he's having a bad day, or it was his
mhm.
first time, like he didn't know. Where like
Yes.
women are expected to be held to a higher standard. We're supposed to, like I said, we're supposed to be perfect all the time, which is like outrageous to think about. Like
Mhm.
we're just like any other person. We're going to make mistakes. Sometimes things is our first time doing things as well. Like people need to learn how to make mistakes. People need to learn how to fail in order to be better at that thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, I definitely think that women are held to a higher standard than men. Like you said, like it's easier for us to have a bad day than it is for a woman to have a bad day.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you explain it well. I think, yeah, that's definitely been my experience. I just feel like navigating this everyday life is just easier. Like people just make it
Yeah,
easier for you. You know what I mean?
we're not
Now that
questioned as much either. Like
yes,
we
exactly.
already have like a sense of authority when we walk into a room.
Mhm.
People look at you, people listen, whereas like women, they need to speak louder. They need to do more in order to be respected. Like for us, like we're just automatically respected already.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think, one thing that stands out to me, like, I think it was about a year ago or something, I had, like, an issue with my brother in some way or something, and, like, I voiced my opinion to him or how I felt, my feelings, right?
Hmm.
And then he said, "You're a man now, you have to remember nobody cares." And I said,
Mm,
"Oh." okay. And I'm like, "I'm sorry you live like that, but, like, regardless, I'm still gonna talk about feelings, I'm still gonna talk about how things affect people." Like, it
Yeah,
just that's not man or woman, that's you know what I mean? Like, it was crazy to
that's
me,
a
and I'm
people
like,
thing. Yeah.
"Interesting." Yeah, it was very, it was a big eye opener for sure.
Mhm.
Wow. And that's just so unfortunate. And it's very, yeah, that's very unfortunate. And I'm the one thing I'm very happy about being a trans man and not a cis man is that that is drilled in their heads.
Mhm.
Don't talk
Right.
about your emotions. You can't cry. You can't uh be soft, and I hate that so much, for
Yeah.
our brothers, our male friends, our fathers, our uncles, you know, it's just it's so unfortunate, but it's also a system that cis men have created for themselves.
Mhm.
And, cis women, you know, I'd say the average cis woman, lets them know, hey, that's not how it has to be. So I'm very happy for us trans men. We understand both sides. We understand that
Yeah.
we can tap into our feminine side or be completely feminine, however you want. Um,
Mhm.
but showing emotion and being on the softer side even is okay. And I think it helps in relationships as well, just being more just emotional, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then was there anything that you wish more trans men spoke about or shared about?
Think the first thing that pops into my head is when I'm on social media and I see like younger trans men or even trans men that have been out for some time and they've had surgery and they're passing. Well, I guess I'll start with younger trans men. Um, the wanting to rush the process, rush into hormones, rush into the effects, the surgeries. And I understand I've been there, we've all been there. But now looking back, like I'm so grateful that I had to wait that year, because it's so important to really understand your decision, you know, who you are as this new person. Again, we have no experience being a man. Of course, emotionally, we can feel, like one, we transition into one, but it takes time. And again, starting testosterone is a whole thing. Like it's so important to be patient, do your research. Um, and I'm not saying to second guess yourself because, you know, coming out and realizing you're a trans person isn't just some light decision. Like if that's if you have those feelings, it's you are you know you're you're correct. There's yeah. Um, so I'd say to just not rush things. And then for trans men that are passing and they're having these surgeries, and they want to rush the recovery, or they want to, oh, how long can I, or how long do I have to wait until I can start doing this again?
Mhm.
For some reason, it just bothers me. It bothers me so much because, and I'm not insinuating that they're not happy or they're not grateful for their surgery or whatever they're recovering from. But it's just relax, just relax. Like put your feet up, enjoy the recovery process. Um, there's no need to rush and um, you know, maybe hurt your results or hurt yourself trying to get back into things. Um, yeah, maybe I've been on Reddit a little too much. Because that's mainly where I see it. But just relax, like just relax. Like, yeah, I don't I think that's one
No.
thing that bothers me. Yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely guilty with that too though. Like day 3, day 4, I was over here deep cleaning my apartment, bored with nothing to do. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why did I put myself through that? Like, why couldn't I just force myself to relax and like enjoy the recovery process?
Mhm.
But I
Yes.
think it's also the pressure that we put on ourselves that like we can't show that we're like in pain or like
Mhm.
the negative effects of like getting surgery, like any
Oh,
surgery done, because it's like, well, you wanted this, you put yourself
Right.
through this. So
mm,
I can't show that I'm in pain or that I need time to recover or that, maybe I'm thinking like, oh, was this the best decision for me? Like you can think those things and that still can be the best decision that you've made for yourself. Like
Mhm.
both of like they're not voided. They can be two conjoining thoughts. And I
yeah.
think maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. What do you think, Juju?
Yeah, I mean, I think it has a lot, like you said, to do with like the pressure that maybe society or people around you like put on as far
Mm-hmm.
as like you can't show like you're weak. You chose to
Right.
get like, for example, you chose to get top surgery. Um, deal with it. Like I guess is
Mhm.
what
Mm-hmm.
people would say, or will you feel that they would say? Because it's like
Yeah.
even if they don't, it's like, are they thinking that? So yeah, I think I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. That's a very good point. Yeah, I agree. I agree that it can definitely be um a little bit of both. Yeah.
Yeah.
What hopes do you have for your future and for the future of the LGBTQ community?
Mm. For me, for me, I hope that my identity and my life doesn't have to revolve around being transgender or surgeries or recovery or complications. Um, and don't get me wrong, I'm grateful to have successfully transitioned, and I'm grateful that I'm passing as a man. I'm able to identify as a man in this society. Um, but I don't want day in and day out to be, I'm trans. And I think after having phalloplasty here soon, and recovering, I think I will finally feel complete, physically, emotionally. Um, I'm already a pretty confident trans man. I think after having fallow, I'll be even more confident, and secure in my identity. So I'm just happy to be like 50, 60 years old and just relaxing. I'm done with
Mm-hmm.
surgeries, um, and just being able to live. I mean, I guess I can be like 30 and just live, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, for the LGBT plus community, oh, I mean, our country is just in shambles right now.
Shambles. Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to trans minors or just LGBT plus minors, gender affirming care, the president and the administration, the right. I mean, we can sit here and talk about that all day, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I mean, I'm just hopeful that after this administration has left and is done and over, I hope the next people that come in, are able to reverse some of these things,
Mm-hmm.
reinstate protections for trans minors. Um, and just as a whole, I just hope we just become less ignorant about people being different than the norm, and
Yeah.
that goes for anything, race, ethnicity, gender, identity, all of it. But I mean, that's
Disabilities.
disabilities, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just shouldn't be this, like we're all human. Our differences make up our differences make us different. Like it shouldn't
Mm-hmm.
be that big of a deal. So that's what I'm hopeful for. Um, but again, that's going to take time, and it's going to take a lot of organizing and coming together as people, and trying to make differences. So yeah, that's what I'm hopeful for.
For sure. Sorry, just out of curiosity,
Mhm,
because you mentioned earlier that you just basically, to sum it up, you just want to be a dude, just one of the guys type deal.
mhm,
Um, when it comes to school, and like your work, are you out as like being like a trans guy, or are you just simply a dude or simply a guy to everyone around you in that
mm.
regard?
Yeah, that's a good question. Um, I'd say I'm in the middle.
Okay.
Like in class, if I love to, whoever I'm sitting by or with, group projects, whatever, I make sure to introduce myself, and I like getting close with them, just because it's a long semester. Making
Mm-hmm.
friends is nice, obviously. Um, but if that relationship progresses, we become friends or homies, and I feel like they're not going to be a terrible person if I did tell them I'm trans, then I definitely do tell them. Um,
Gotcha.
a couple semesters ago, I met a super cool guy. We got really close, and I told him, and he was super cool about it. And he was the first person that um, like helped me or like taught me how to dap up, and especially being a black man, it's definitely something that is integrated into every dynamic with your dad, with your brothers, with your friends. So it was definitely something that I was so insecure about. Um, and yeah, he helped me with it, and now I'm still not all the way confident with it. But I know how to do it. I'm okay at it. Um, but yeah, he's awesome. So yeah, it really just comes down to the relationship. If I feel comfortable with you, and we have the same beliefs and opinions about important things, then you know I'll tell them, and it's nice to talk about your experience, because most of the time they have questions. Um, but then at the same time, like when it comes to my career or my job, it's not something that I'm like I don't show up to work you know with like the trans like a trans flag, on my back, or it's and I'm not ashamed of it. Of course, I'm not ashamed of it, but it's not something that I want to be the sole, you know, um, the only thing that's about myself.
Right.
If I could explain it in simpler terms. Um,
No, yeah, the male greetings are some things I still feel insecure about. Like, do I shake your hand? Some people go in for a
right.
hug. I'm like, what are we doing
Yeah.
Yeah.
here?
hmm And there's so many different dap ups too. Like there's the like you said, like they'll bring it in, the quicker one, and the full
hmm
wrap around the thumb. It's just, I don't know. So
I just do that. Hey,
yeah, right.
what's up?
Just what's up, man?
Just
Yeah.
a just a simple fist bump. That's it.
Yeah,
Right.
that
Just
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
just man, I love when I meet a dude, and oh, hey, what's up, man? Oh, thank God. Yes, what's up,
Yeah.
bro? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. And did you want to share your socials in case anybody wants to give you a follow?
That would be. Can I look at my phone real quick? I don't even know my
Yes, of
use.
course. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Um. So for TikTok, my username is ft.maddox. MADDOXX. That's my TikTok. So if you wanna give me a little follow, that'd be cool. That's really the only social media I'm really on. So
Okay. Cool.
yeah,
We'll also put it in the description as well in case you guys want
cool,
to give Maddox a follow.
cool.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Two Guys Unfiltered. A huge thank you to Maddox for sharing his story. If today's episode resonated with you or reminded you of your own, we would love to hear from you. Click the link in the description to fill out the form if you're interested in being our next guest.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who needs it. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other. Bye.